Controversy in Tigray, where cultural festivals are also turning into controversial events. Secondly, Eritrean Embassy in Washington refused to receive a letter from a group of protesters in Washington, the USA. What happened there? Welcome to the channel. Thank for watching. There's two new stories. First one is from Tigray, where I think there is no consensus on any issue. This is the aftermath of war. Though 2 years have passed, but this war divided Tigray. Tigray was not as divided a region before the war as it is today. Political divisions, divisions in military, divisions between ruling party and other parties, divisions within ruling party, lots of other divisions, to religious divisions as well. Tigray women are celebrating Ashinda. Ashinda is a cultural festival celebrated annually by the girls and women of Tigray. I think it originated in Aksum. Women and girls celebrate it in August, and they go from door to door singing Ashinda songs, where they receive gifts, they receive meals. So it's a festival of peace, festival of love, festival of happiness. But unfortunately, this festival is also showing signs of political interference. In 2016, an Ethiopian athlete at Rio Olympics crossed his arms over his head as a protest, and that crossing of arms over his head became a resistance symbol. Faisa Lalisa from Oromia was the athlete. So this symbol of resistance is now widely used in Ethiopia. Whenever Ethiopians resist, whenever they want to say no to oppression, they make this sign. In Tigray, during Ashinda celebrations, some women crossed their arms above their heads and made the resistance sign. On the one hand, it's good to see women expressing their views, standing up to oppression, refusing to give in. On the other hand, such activities are going to pollute the purity of this festival. TPF supporters, TPLF critics, military critics are propagating the pictures of Ashinda women, Ashinda girls crossing their arms above their heads in defiance. But this it's basically an indication of divisions in Tigray. Such festivals should be free from politics. They should not be used by any political groups because Ashinda women from diaspora they travel to Tigray to participate in Ashinda celebrations. And during Ashinda, we saw that rumors were spread by some people that Yerid Gebre Selassie had been flown out of Tigray. The man who was convicted of the murder of Zaidu Haftu sentenced to life imprisonment in Makale, is in custody, but rumors were spread just to ignite a conflict, just to create a conflict in Tigray that the man who killed a girl 2 years ago and who's been sentenced has been thrown out of Tigray. Makale police then dismissed those rumors. So I think such cultural festivals should not be polluted by political interference. Second was Eritrean Embassy in Washington, D.C. refused to receive a letter from protesters who protested outside the embassy 24 hours ago. Eritrea is known globally for repression against political workers, religious figures, government critics, and advocates for democracy and democratic change. People were thrown in prisons in Eritrea over 2 decades ago just because they expressed their beliefs freely, and they are still in prison. No one knows where they are. Was any trial conducted or not? Was the trial fair trial? No one knows. Some died in prisons. And the president is Asavaki refusing to release any of them. Over 2 decades ago, 7 Christian priests were imprisoned in Eritrea for their religious beliefs. Not all religious denominations are approved in Eritrea. Orthodox Christianity, Sunni Islam, and there is a third one too. The 3 religious denominations are accepted. Followers of these 3 religions are allowed to practice their religion freely. Others are not allowed. If followers of other religious denominations, other religions worship publicly, or if they build their places of worship, they're arrested. The 7 Christian priests were arrested over 2 decades ago. They're still in prison. An NGO, Open Doors, organized a protest outside Eritrean Embassy in Washington, D.C., calling for the release of 7 Christian priests who were imprisoned over 2 decades ago. The protesters were in front of the Eritrean Embassy. They tried to hand over a letter to the Eritrean Embassy, urging the Eritrean Embassy in the letter to release the Christian priests. But the embassy refused to receive the letter. Open Doors, NGO, and other NGOs, they say they'll continue such protests, and they will hold similar protests in London and other European cities. Eritrean government has done nothing to improve its human rights record. Even the supporters of Eritrean government in their private conversations acknowledge that dissent is not allowed in Eritrea. Political dissent, religious dissent, expression of political views, freedom of expression, freedom of media, freedom of worship, nothing is tolerated in Eritrea. But some die-hard supporters of Eritrean government say that Eritrea is on the right path. It's on its way to prosperity, development, and self-reliance. While people have been suffering in prisons for over 2 decades for petty crimes. I mean, freedom of expression isn't a heinous crime. It's a right which should be protected by countries. Thanks for watching.